What's up, guys? Awesome draft last night. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed everybody's participation, except for the couple picks that somebody wasn't available for. San Antonio Trash Pandas. But I enjoyed it. I think everyone kind of had different strategies going into it. A few guys went fully win now. A few guys went mix of win now and for the future. And then a few guys went completely for the future. And I'm going to kind of break it down when I do my preseason power rankings here. That's what this episode's kind of mainly about. But I do want to hit on a few things about the draft. I do have draft grades for everybody. And I kind of want to hit on those, but I'll do that after my power rankings because those kind of coincide with each other, and I don't really want to spoil my power rankings. But I do have steal of the draft and reach of the draft. Now, there's a lot of steals, I think. I think there's a lot of players that could end up being phenomenal for their teams where they were picked. One example, I'm just going to say somebody I picked that I think I got at a really good spot. I got Xavier Tillman quite late in the draft. News came out yesterday. Steven Adams is going to miss the entire season with a knee injury. It's a bummer for Steven Adams. Everybody loves that guy. He's awesome. But it does spell Xavier Tillman getting quality minutes as more than likely a starter on that Memphis Grizzlies team. And without Steven Adams last year, he did play quite well at the end of the season. So, but that's not the steal I have written down. I think the steal of the draft, in my opinion, everybody kind of knows that I'm high on this guy. I pick him almost every year, but I think Tyler getting Kyle Kuzma at 7th round first pick was a great pick. Without Bradley Beal this year, that Wizards team, to be quite honest, is going to be a two-headed monster of Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. Poole went earlier to Wyatt, I think 3rd, 4th round. I think that's a great pick for Jordan Poole. He's going to have the ball more than Kuz, but I do think Kuzma adds the rebound effect to it, and Kuzma can go get you 25 plus any given night as well. Now the reach of the draft. This is not to say that this player is going to have a bad season. I love this player. I think he's a great basketball player. I think he's a legend in our game. I do think, however, he is getting up there in age and maybe in production as well. I think LeBron James at 2-4 to Swish Kebabs was a bit of a reach. I know he didn't have a pick for like 10 picks after that. So maybe he thought, he's probably going to be gone. I could see that being the reasoning behind that. I do think LeBron's going to have a great season. I don't think he's going to slow down much, but I do think at 2-4, since this is a dynasty draft, dynasty league, you could have gotten somebody with maybe a little more potential, a little more value for that pick where you got him. Okay, so like I said, great draft. No real surprises. One surprise, Luka went number 1, I guess. That's still not a huge surprise. No surprise on the rookie draft either. Wemby, Scoot Henderson, 1-2 combo. I did think that there were a few guys that dropped a little lower than I thought they would have in the rookie draft. Derek Lively being one of them, I believe. Calvertsville Flamers got him 2nd round. I think that's a great pick. I think Derek Lively is going to get great minutes on the Mavericks this year. And he could develop into a phenomenal shot blocking big pick and roll specialist. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into Power Rankings edition number 1. I've decided I'm going to go actually top to bottom on this one instead of like we did the draft lottery where I went bottom to top. Number 1 overall team heading into the preseason, or heading into the season, as our preseason power rankings, is the Albuquerque DEA, drafted by Sammy Query. I think Sammy did a phenomenal job of mixing in win now and youth with that ball club. He's got guys that are young, that are superstars already, i.e. Jason Tatum. And I think that that team is built to win today and tomorrow and the next day and for a long time, because they've got 5 All-NBA guys, as somebody pointed out, in their first 5 picks. That's phenomenal. That's something you can't really ask for. They've got a great big man in Domantas Sabonis who can provide triple-doubles whenever. And quite frankly, he's just a big part of that Sacramento team. Like I said, they have Jason Tatum, they have Giannis Antetokounmpo, they have Damian Lillard. I mean, the team is stacked, and that Giannis-Tatum duo, I think, is going to, they're always in the MVP discussion, those two specifically. Getting them at 3 and 4, I think, was great. I don't think you could have went wrong there, and I think Sammy did a great job of building a team that could compete for the fantasy championship. Number 2, I have Prestige Worldwide, drafted by AJ Sipes. I got the entire Suns' big 3. Can't go wrong there. I think it's just a really deep team. I think his starting 5 is great. He's got Ant, who I think is going to make a leap. He drafted him first round. I just think he has a deep team. Like I said, in his utility spots, he has Bradley Beal, Aaron Gordon, and Devin Booker, all guys who are going to put up numbers, man. Like, I just think this, and to like hit on another point on this team, he's got a lot of young talent. He's got Asar Thompson of the Detroit Pistons, Jonathan Kuminga, and Ben Mathurin, who I was going to pick if he was around to me on that round. I was settled on that. Got sniped. Great pick. Wish I could have got him, but that's all right. I think if Sammy isn't in the running for the title, AJ will be there too. I could see that being our championship matchup later in the year when looking at the rosters. 3rd overall spot, we have the Cuckolders, drafted by Isaac Combs. Jokic-Curry duo. That's tough. That's a duo that is going to be hard to stop. It's a duo that's probably going to be locked in at the point guard and center position all year. He's got a really deep roster. Looking down at his bench, he's got a lot of guys that he can flip in and out in those utility spots, depending on the week, depending on the matchups. He drafted 3rd overall in the rookie draft and drafted Brandon Miller. I think Brandon Miller's a stud. If he stays out of jail, I think he's going to be a great player for the Charlotte Hornets. He's going to put up a lot of offensive numbers, and he's going to be a vital part of Isaac's team, I think, moving forward. So I think Isaac did a great job. I think Isaac could compete for the championship as well fairly easily. Number 4 spot, San Antonio Trash Pandas. This team is centered around Luka Doncic, but that's not to say the rest of the team is not fully loaded. He's got great forwards, shooting guard, small forward, power forward position, with a mix of Levine, George, DeRozan, and Kuz. I think it's going to be hard for him to go wrong too, especially in those areas. He also drafted 4th overall in the rookie draft and got Amen Thompson, who I think will be in the running for Rookie of the Year. I think if Wemby, I would be shocked if Wemby doesn't win it, but Wemby has a letdown season, or if he were to sustain some sort of injury that would keep him from playing the games necessary, I think Amen Thompson has a great shot. 5th overall team, I've got Team in Helms 2. I think he's one that did a great job of mixing in win now and potential as well. I think another aspect of his team that will be important will be Mikal Bridges. I think Mikal Bridges will make a huge jump this year. Once he got traded to Brooklyn last year, he started just going off, and I think that's going to continue into this season, as they don't really have anyone who takes the ball out of his hands very much. So the only thing that I would look at for his team that would kind of worry me would be some questions on the depth side of things. So kind of like the utility/bench players. I think those are going to be important, especially this year in fantasy, since we have 5 utility spots, to get the most out of those, to get guys who are going to score points consistently. And I do think he might have some questions there that keep him down in the mid area of number 5 in our rankings. Number 6, we have the Swish Kebabs, drafted by Jacob Carmichael. I touched on them having LeBron James earlier. They have a lot of great basketball players. It's just whether or not they can have them healthy. If healthy, they have a great starting 5. The health and the age kind of coinciding with each other. They have a lot of guys that are getting older. He drafted very win now, and I think that's fine. That's a strategy you can use, but there will come a day where you do need to rebuild, and that may be in a couple years for him. But it will happen. I think he has good depth on his bench. I think Sexton and Brogdon, at where he got them in the draft, were great picks. And I think he could compete for a playoff spot, definitely, and make a few deals to kind of help the health aspect of his team. He could compete for a championship too, because he does have a lot of name value there. Number 7, we have the Calvertsville Flamers, the home of Victor Wembanyama. I didn't realize when the draft was going on that he also picked Rudy Gobert, so he's got kind of like the French duo big men there. I do want to touch on the fact that I think P.J. Washington was also a great pick, with the concerns to Miles Bridges on what's going to go on with him. P.J. Washington's going to see a lot of power forward minutes, and I think that in that Charlotte Hornets lineup, he's going to be somebody who gets the ball a lot and quite frankly gets a lot of touches compared to last year. I think he's going to make a huge jump. I think they're a deep ball club here at Calvertsville. Franz Wagner, Keldon Johnson, and Gobert in utility, I think is a great trio of guys there that'll be used a lot in those positions. One major concern I would have with Calvertsville would be the health of Zion. Zion, I think, is going to be fine. I think he's just gotten really unlucky early in his career with injuries. He's a freak athlete, obviously, so jumping that high with that much weight can cause some concerns on the body, but we'll see. I do think he's going to end up being fine, though. At 8, we have the Saskatchewan Blue Beavers, drafted by Nick Poe. They have a lot of young guard play. SGA, Scoot, and Anthony Simons, 3 great picks. 3 guys that are going to be in his lineup for a long time, I believe. I think this team is extremely deep. You look down on the bench, they have a guy like Derek White sitting there who provided extremely valuable minutes for the Celtics last year and will probably do the same this year, backing up Drew Holiday. I think this team's kind of relying on SGA to make that leap, which he sort of did last year, but it's kind of relying on the SGA to be that guy. He's a great basketball player. I think he will make that leap. I think this Thunder team will continue to get better, and he's going to be the forefront of that. So I think he was a great pick where he got him in our draft, and I like the future for this team a lot. One main concern would be Anthony Davis's health. If AD can stay healthy, which has always been an issue for him, I think this ball club could make a playoff run for sure. At 9, we have me, the Brazilian Tree Frogs. I've kind of built for the future with the potential to win now. I have a lot of guys that if they make somewhat of a jump, they've been in the league for a year or two. If they make somewhat of a jump, I'm going to have a good chance. I'm going to have a good chance to make a playoff run. One major concern is Ja's suspension. If we can kind of get through the first couple months of the season and get through his suspension and get a good record off the bat, I think that's going to be huge. I think that's going to, as soon as he gets back, he's obviously going to provide a spark for our team. And like I touched on earlier, Xavier Tillman, I think he's going to be a huge aspect of my bench play and my depth. If he continues to make a jump, if he provides great minutes for the Grizzlies, with Steven Adams being out, I think that I have a good chance of being in the playoff talks as well. 10th, this is last, but it's not least. I see the strategy he went with. It was completely for the future. This is the International Pussycats, drafted by Tad. There are some bench concerns, and like I said, completely for the future. Obviously, the way he drafted extremely young. but I think it might be a struggle to win year one, but I think in the coming years you're going to see that team continue to develop into a team that is extremely tough to beat. So, and he has a lot of star potential on that ball club too. One of the stars being LaMelo Ball. There are some concerns about his health, that ankle injury that keeps popping up, flaring up a lot. It's kind of concerning, especially with what happened to his older brother, or what is happening to his older brother. It's sort of concerning, but hopefully LaMelo gets that all squared away. And if he does, obviously LaMelo is a superstar in this league and has MVP potential. All right. And to end this episode, we're going to end with the draft grades with a little bit of a recap on the power rankings I just said. Number 1, Albuquerque DEA. Sammy, I gave you an A+ on the draft. I think you did a phenomenal job. I think your team is extremely strong top to bottom, and I think that you have everything you need to make a run. And I would be shocked to see your team struggle. Number 2, Prestige Worldwide. AJ, I gave you an A. You're very close to getting an A+ along with Sammy. I think you drafted phenomenally, especially at the 6th position. And I think you've got a lot of talent moving forward, and I think you're going to be a tough out late in the season as well. Isaac, at number 3, the Cuckolders, I gave you an A as well. Like I told AJ, top to bottom, I think you did great. I don't think you really have any flaws. I think you got a good rookie too, so your win now and future potential is a good mix, and that's what you need in a dynasty league. 4, San Antonio Trash Pandas, I gave you an A-. I think you would have gotten an A if you would have picked all your picks, especially early rounds, and not fallen asleep at the wheel, doing something, whatever that means. But I think you did well. I think you've got a lot of talent on your team, and I think Luka's going to lead you to, at the very least, competing for a playoff spot, and more than likely a chance at the championship. 5, Team Inhelms 2. I give you a B+. That's not as bad as it sounds. I think your team is really good. I think your team could easily make a playoff run. Mikal Bridges is going to make that jump that you need. And I think it's going to be fun to kind of see where your team ends up, because I think you have the highest variance of what could happen this season, maybe of anybody. So I think it's going to be fun to see. 6, Swish Kebabs. I gave you a B. Like I said, a lot of old guys on your team. That's fine, especially for this season, but there will be times where you're going to have to make decisions moving forward on if you want to trade, and there might be a time this season where you have to decide if you want to start to build for a future instead of win now. 7, Calvertsville Flamers, gave you a B. Taking into consideration you did draft the future of the NBA, more than likely. Victor Wembanyama, I think you got a B. I think you did well for the picks that you had. Trading your first-round pick is a big ask of Victor Wembanyama, but I think he will be worth it, and I think you've got guys that'll make a jump, so I think you're going to do well. Saskatchewan Blue Beavers, I gave you a B-. I think you did fine. I think there's a lot of potential on this team. If Shea turns out to be the guy that people continue to believe he will be, and he's sort of making that run to it, he looks like he's going to be that guy at least. I think your team has a lot of potential to make a playoff run, and obviously you have a lot for the future. You will have to replace AD at some point, more than likely, because he is getting older, but that's totally fine. You can do that at any point. Brazilian Tree Frogs, that's me. I gave me a C+. I wasn't absolutely thrilled with my team last night at the end of both drafts when I sat down to look at it. I'm going to need Ja back. I'm going to need him to come out ready to go. And that's going to be what kind of keeps my team from either completely building for the future. I do have 2 first-round picks the next 2 years moving forward, which I love. I thought that was a great trade. And I think my team has a lot of potential to be come next season, or even definitely the season after that, towards the top of the power rankings. International Pussycats, I gave you a C-. It seems a little harsh, I know, but like I said, there are bench concerns, and I do believe that your health with LaMelo Ball could be a concern as well. I hope not. I love LaMelo. I hope he's a superstar in this league, and I hope he continues to shine. But just keep an eye on that ankle injury, and just continue to build for the future, because if you're going to do that, you got to go all in on it. And in 2 or 3 years, your team is going to be extremely hard to beat if it all pans out for you. So, like I said, that's all I got. That's all we got today. I think the draft went well. I appreciate everybody's participation, obviously. It was kind of fun that last hour when all the trades were going down. It was kind of like a little hectic. It was really cool. I enjoyed it. It's going to be interesting to see what trades happen. Even maybe there might be a few before opening night. Maybe some guys didn't get the guys they wanted, and they're going to make a deal for them. But like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great week 1. Anything can happen. Literally anything. Anybody could win. Anybody's team could struggle. It's just the way the ball is going to bounce. And I'm excited for it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the 20 minutes or so to watch this video. Appreciate you all. And we'll catch you on week 1 recap and week 2 preview episode. Peace.